Is up, sports fan? Good evening here on the South Florida Tribune. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rochelle, and this is another episode of The Real and the Rare. And we got another special guest for you this evening. We are being joined by former Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene. Tommy, I really appreciate the time you're giving us this evening, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. Looking forward to it. Doing a little bit of talking. That's what we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talking some baseball. It's that time of year. Obviously, we've been done since the end of October here, and we're only a few short weeks away from spring training, so everything's ramping up.
Everybody's starting to get the itch a little bit. Now we just got to get the weather to cooperate up here and get warmer too, and we really get the itch.
Yeah, and then obviously, special year here in Philadelphia as the All-Star Game is going to be back in Philadelphia for the first time since 1996. So it's going to be a fun time in Philadelphia this summer, that's for sure.
Well, I tell you what, anytime you get a chance to have the Midsummer Classic in your home city, it's a great thing. I haven't never been a part of it. I had one chance to make him one, but I didn't get picked for it because the managers picked that, and I was scuffling right before the break a little bit. But it's always fun for a city to host one of those, and I feel like Philadelphia is going to put on a good show for them.
Yeah, I think we will. I did hear the stadium has having some construction right now. They're extending the the merchandise room, so to speak, in there, getting ready for the All-Star break and the start of the season. So going to be an interesting time at Citizens Bank Park, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, they're always doing something to try to make the experience for the fans better, and ultimately that's what it's about, the fan experience. Yeah. So when they come there, they can really enjoy and watch the team that they love play. And there's really no better fans than the Philadelphia fans. So I think it's a great thing. They keep trying to make new things at the ballpark and the experience better for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things someone told me was like their favorite thing was the little mini Citizens Bank Park inside the park, like the little, like I guess on the concourse there's like a little area for the.
It's out like in right. It's out like in right field behind. Behind the bleacher, behind the seats back there. It's a pretty cool thing out there. The kids go out there and have fun. They play wiffle ball and all kind of stuff. They have people throwing to them, and they have fun at it out there.
Yeah, you got to make it fun for the little tykes too, not just for the the young adults and the adults that want to come in there watching our Phillies play. Whoever happens to be the opponent that given day.
Yeah. So they got things around Citizens Bank. They do have a vast variety of things for all ages, say to speak, along with obviously the food and stuff they offer, that's ever changing too. I mean, they always try to make the experience better, which is a good thing. That's one of the better ballparks you want to see in the league and come watch a baseball game. Even though right now you look at it, how old's the stadium now? It's over 20 years old.
Yeah, it is.
So it's 22, 23 years old now more. So they're doing some updating and doing some things, and I think it's going to be real good for the city. To have the Midsummer Classic here too. So.
Yeah, Midsummer Classic is going to be something special this year, and you're right. Like it is a little bit over 20 years old now, and nowadays it's almost like once you're 20 years old, it's almost time to look for a new stadium. I don't think we're quite ready.
No,
nor do we need it.
No, that's one of the better places you can watch a ball game in. So I think it's fan friendly. There's really not a bad seat in the house, really. You're right there on top of the action, and so it's a pretty good thing. I love the picture you got in the background. That was my old joint.
Yes, sir. So, I had to put the vet in the background. To.
That's the old dinosaur, I call it, and that was my big league ballpark. So
that was my first experience inside Veterans Stadium. Was a Phillies Cubs game. I think it was like 91. I think it was.
Yeah.
So it was, second game in that park. I was lucky enough to go to the Eagles Lions playoff game in 95, 96 it was. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun stadium to be in, but nothing's like the new age stuff that both is going at Citizens Bank Park and Lincoln Financial Field. But the vet
Yeah.
was a special place, at least for me, because when you get your first few games there when you're a young kid, it's always gonna have a place in your heart.
Yeah. I mean,
now, what about you? Like, obviously, we're talking about our love for the parks here in Philadelphia. Where are some parks outside of Philadelphia that you enjoyed pitching? You wouldn't mind enjoying as a fan, like with all the upgraded parks that everyone all these teams have. What stadium really stands out to you?
well, I mean, it's hard now. I mean, because I haven't been to any of the new stadiums, other than I did. I mean, go up to the new Yankee Stadium they got this past summer. Is the first time I've been to, other than to Toronto and Baltimore, were the only American League ballparks I'd ever been to. Back in from when I played until present. I'd never been to, well, I can't say I was in Tampa Bay one time too. I can't at the old dome there, but you're not missing nothing with that place. But I'm trying to think. You can't beat to me. I mean, the experience Wrigley Field. I got to experience it from a player standpoint. It's always a wonderful thing to see where the game sort of where it comes from. From years and years past until today, and it's still one of the best places to go to watch a baseball game and to feel the baseball. You feel baseball there. I mean, it's like it should be played. Especially during the day game there, which is, it was the way it was played for how many decades there. So it's the old Dodger Stadium. I mean, that's still around, from when I played, and some of the new stadiums. I mean, what would I like to go? They ain't none of them big enough anymore. It seems like now, as a pitcher, you want to find the biggest one. People ask me, what park would you like to pitch in? I was like, Yellowstone. It's bigger. I mean, it's that type of thing for me. But man, well, Toronto's still there. I didn't ever pitch in Toronto though during the World Series. Almost. People don't know I was almost in that game right there, Game 6 there at the end. Me and Mitch were up together in the ninth, and they sent me down when Larry got the last out in the eighth. So, God, I mean, what ballpark would I like to watch a game in? I mean, in the way I looked at it, it was sort of as a player. Any big league ballpark I like going into. It's a big league ballpark. You're watching a big league game.
Yeah.
I'm there to watch the
game.
Go to
Arizona, where they
I'm there to go to the game, not the concession stand. You know what I mean? Type thing.
Well, like I said, Arizona has the pool, so.
Well, I have been there. I think back at it. I have been back there, and I mean, I'm not going. Like I said, I'm going there to watch a game, not go to do the other crap. You know what I mean? Because I'm more of the purist. When I go to a baseball game, if I'm going to a baseball game, right? I'm going to watch it. So keep up with it.
Do got a question from the chat. They want to know, who's your favorite NFL team?
Oh, well, I live in Philly now, so I do pull for the Eagles. Now I've been up here for a right good while now. But my favorite team of all time, and you got to know, I grew up in North Carolina, so we didn't grow up around big major sports, other than ACC basketball. That was huge back when I come up. I had a bunch of friends. I had a bunch of fans that were Cowboy fans, a bunch of friends that were Cowboy fans, and Redskins fans. So I went against all those guys, and I went defense, and I was either going to go black and silver or black and gold. So I ended up going black and gold. So I've been a Pittsburgh fan since I was like 7, 8 years old. So, I was a big Terry Bradshaw, all the guys back, Jack Ham, Lambert, all the guys back. Mean Joe Greene was my, because he spelled his name like me. That was the swing. That was the swing vote when I saw his name. So that Mean Joe he was the cleaner. He was the guy to come in and save the day, made me a Steeler guy. So I pull for the Steelers. If the only time, I pull for the Steelers. I'm not diehard crazy, but I pull for the Steelers ever since I was young, and I've stuck with them. But I pull for the Eagles. I live here now, and they're It's NFC, AFC, and if they were to play each other, I'm pulling for the Steelers. I've always been a Steeler. I'm going to stay there, but I do pull for both. So,
ain't nothing wrong with that. And our listeners are Cowboys fans, so
well, we can all
sorry for
we
you in
can.
that one, my friend.
Hey, you see, you know what? I mean, it was hard for me. It's just like being a baseball fan. I didn't ever have a favorite team in baseball, so I had favorite guys, because
Mhm.
me and my dad grew up. I mean, not my dad grew up, but I grew up watching Sunday afternoon baseball, baseball game of the week, So, and if it was nice outside, I was outside playing and doing, whatever it was. So I didn't ever really watch a lot except when the weather was bad. And in the games we did watch, me and my dad and stuff, it was always seemed to be like the Yankees and somebody, or the Pittsburgh Pirates and somebody, or Cincinnati Reds and somebody. You get to see Nolan Ryan pitch sometimes out west, and then you see lefty pitch matchup, and then you saw a lot of the Yankees with Ron Guidry and Catfish Hunter and stuff like that. So I grew up watching, having favorite guys as less than team, because I didn't grow up around it. So the only favorite team, I mean, other than college, I was a Carolina basketball fan, but not a college football fan. I didn't have a favorite team in college football. Baseball, I didn't have a favorite team. Football was the only favorite team in the NFL I had, to say to speak. So.
No, nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing wrong with that. Now, obviously, we talk ballparks. Who are some of the guys that you like to pitch against? You like to play against?
It didn't matter. You always want to play against the guys. I mean, you consider the top echelon guys, the most consistent guys, because you want to go against those type of guys and see if you can get them out. That type of thing. It's always fun, facing the Gwynns and the Bonses and stuff back when I come up, and then you get to see the young guys coming up there. It ends up being basically Hall of Famers like Chipper Jones. You get to see the beginning of his career, a little bit, and so it's you think about those guys. It's always enjoy facing a big league player. It doesn't matter. Every day in the big leagues to me was a grateful day. You look forward to it, to competing against the best. Because every organization is trying to put a quality in the best lineup they can put up out there that year. And some years are better than others because you got injuries you're dealing with, or you might not. It could be a little bit, at least back in the other days, a payroll constraint. That you just don't have the money to do stuff, and you make and do with what you have. But think about being a big league a team. Anybody can be beaten on a given day. Pitching rules, and if the pitchers get hot and they're commanding what they do, you can be a long day for the offensive side. So we've come to know that. And the key to the offense is hitting the pitcher's mistakes. So if a pitcher's not on, we got a chance to do some stuff. If the pitcher's locating and keeping you off balance and stuff like that, and you might get one pitch that you can do something with. You won't see it again. So it's about capitalization on mistakes. When a pitcher's going through, he's going on a good roll. He doesn't seem to make those mistakes. So that's the key. So it's you want to face a guy at their best, so it gives you a little bit of a benchmark to where you're at a little bit. So that's the long answer to what you were asking guys you like to face.
Nothing wrong with the long answer, my friend. Nothing wrong with the long answer. Is there anyone you like to watch pitching nowadays?
By now, who I like watching pitch these days?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I enjoy the old. I mean, obviously, I watch Wheeler pitch a lot, and I enjoy watching him the way he goes about his business. I mean, obviously, he commands and doesn't change speeds, and the commanding of the baseball is huge, because you hear today it's about spin rate and velocity and stuff like that, and it's great. All you see is the numbers on the screen, and it's built for the fans to see, and have something to talk about. I think that's me personally. It's great to have power and great to do that, but if you can't command that power and use it to your advantage, what good is it going to do you? So if you're making mistakes with it all the time or can't throw strikes with it or you're missing over the middle of the plate with it all the time or walking a lot of guys, it's a recipe for disaster. So I like to see a well-pitched game, a well-played defense-played game where one swing of the bat, makes a difference. And I think that's the typical pitcher likes to see that. But I do with the state of the game today. What I like to say, I do miss National League Baseball. I miss the pitcher hitting. I miss the manager having to manage and make a call when to take a pitcher out, and stuff like that.
It means more now because at least it meant more then than it does now because you have the DH and sometimes you sacrifice having that out on the offense because of how the pitcher's pitching on the mound. So
exactly, it does. The pitcher could be rolling now. It also pitching. I mean, people say, "Oh, pitchers can't hit." I wanted the people to think I couldn't hit. Yeah. So I mean, because the pitcher that can handle the bat and do things, it can win. It can help the ball club out immensely. I'm not talking about hitting home runs or it's great to hit a base hit and stuff. I'm just talking about moving runners.
Yeah,
being able to put down a bunt, get a bunt down. Take pride in the little things. How many times you see guys bunt these days? Yeah, it's a lost art.
It's a lost art.
So I mean, the little things of moving runners and stuff like that. It's everything's geared to more one swing of the bat makes a difference type thing. Yeah. So I mean, it's really less than manufacturing more runs. Now there's some teams that are out there pretty good at it right now. They're playing a little bit of the small ball, which is a little bit. Milwaukee was like that a little bit. They hurt a lot of people with that scrappy type play they did this past year. And also Toronto got to where they were at by doing that type of stuff. So
they surprised a lot of people last year.
Yeah.
And now that we're talking about how much it's changed, like there's a lot of people talking about a lot of different things that baseball needs. We need a salary floor, umpire accountability. We're talking about getting rid of the umpires, increase salaries, less blackouts for some of these fans in other areas to be able to watch some of the teams. Maybe you have a some-planted fan that's stuck in another state that can't really watch the team because of the TV blackouts. Hall of Fame selection system. It's something I beat on this drum all day long. I think if we're gonna do Major League Hall of Fame voting, take the writers out of it, please. I've had enough of it. I want it in either the former players or the Hall of Famers that are alive to be able to vote. Give the writers a vote, but don't give them the majority of the vote where they're controlling who gets in and who gets out.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about there, and I haven't been really up to the verse on the Hall of Fame type thing. It's just I grew up, being on the pitching side of it, being, you had to be right there at 300 wins to be in that category. I think that sets you apart because it's the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
For a reason.
I agree. It shouldn't be the Hall of Very Good.
It should be the best of the best. Yeah. So. And that's the way I looked at it. And guys who got to those numbers stand for something. It's about the longevity, the health, and everything else that goes into it to be able to pitch that long to get there. So it's. I mean, there's some things that go into it. That, I mean, the guys haven't got in, and it's such a finicky subject to me. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion, and that's it's their right, and that's what's so great about it. About that is, I mean, mine's more of the old school being it. The criteria is going to be a higher because I think you don't have to have somebody that goes in the Hall of Fame all the time, every year or whatever, just for the sake of inducting somebody. I think you got to have the numbers to prove it, and if it doesn't match up to it, you don't put them in. So somebody's got to set that criteria, or go back to it and make it that way, or having a system that that sets people apart. It shouldn't be that you want the best of the best to be in the Hall of Fame. You just don't want to give in to just anything.
Yeah, I think they
not guys who are being considered for it. They're well deserving of the accolades they're getting. It's just I think that to be in the Hall of Fame, there's got to be some kind of cutoff point.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I just think there needs to be a better system than the one we have in place. I feel like there's more than a handful of guys that probably should have got in a while ago. I mean, we're watching, guys like Dale Murphy and Don Mattingly this past year, and
Yeah.
I feel like both of those guys have cases of their own to sit there and say they should be Hall of Famers, but to like not even be in the conversation. And then there's some of the current era guys like was the guy down, Andrew Jones down there in Atlanta. I felt like he had a good enough career where he probably should have got in. So like those guys, I feel they have the cases, but for whatever reason, they're not being voted on properly.
Well, I mean, you look at, you got guys who are voting. I mean, how much it comes at, or you looking at just the numbers, or how much does the intangibles of the person, are they liked? How are they with the media? Were they, type things? Is that coming into play? You don't know. I mean, I don't think about it like that. Because I didn't play long enough and wasn't healthy enough to even, do anything. But, I know I look at things. I think you need to be, I think to be a Hall of Famer, you got to, first of all, play like one and have the numbers to go in. And I think you need to represent the city and the organizations you play for in a respectable manner and an upstanding manner too. I think that's just me. That's being my human being part of it. It stands for something too. So
yeah, I think looking at some of this stuff, I'm hoping that at some point in time in the next few years we see guys like Chase Utley get in here in Philadelphia. I think he follows those standards me and you were just talking about right there. Representing the team in a certain manner, playing the game in a certain manner. And I think, especially when you have someone like Jeff Kent just get in, I think they have similar type numbers, similar type careers where you could sit there and say, like, Chase should be in at some point in time over the next handful of years.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be the case. And you start, it comes down to the number crunching thing is what they want. How a guy plays the game means a lot to me. If you play the game hard in the right way, that's what you want. And you start dealing, guys who play second base, and is the criteria you kind of go to, are the numbers there to support. I don't know Chase's numbers, right off the top of my head, but I mean, for the sake, do you let somebody in? I don't know. I mean, I think he's got a pretty good case. We'll find out.
It's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's and that bottom line, that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about it's something that's popped up over the last few years is the World Baseball Classic. Obviously, we got a couple Phillies hopping in this year. Here's Bryce Harper at one of the recent ones a few years ago. Would you have liked to have been able to have the opportunity to do something like that? What Major League Baseball has done with the Baseball World Classic?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at it. I mean, it was tough enough to me to stay healthy. I mean, yes, I would love to represent my country in something like that. What it stands for and what it does to unify and make the sport a global type thing that's going on, which is pretty huge. But you're asking also guys, I mean, especially on the pitcher side of it, to get going like they are, to do things. I think there's a risky side of it too for organizations, that put this type of money in guys and to play, for that. I mean, to answer your question, I would love to have been healthy and played in it, that type thing, because it's how many chances do you get the chance to play for your country like that? Sort of like play, like that, and then represent, and also being able to back in the day, like play in the Olympics type thing, which was a huge thing. I mean, it stands for something. So I think it's a good thing, and then you can see the passion that other countries and stuff that you go play that come play have for the game too, which is, I mean, that's what we want in the sport of baseball is make it more global. So
that's the I think the next goal for baseball, and I think it's something that they are working on is being more global. We had we started off last year's baseball season in Japan, so
yeah,
I think it's something we should look into more. But where it's not hurting team players, etc., where it makes sense, so to speak.
yeah, agreed,
Um,
agreed.
Baseball classic aside, we were just talking about Hall of Fame and stuff like that. This past season, well, we just heard that former Phillies pitcher Max Kelper just got hit with an 80-game suspension for performance enhancing drugs, and he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last season. Do you think that when you see stuff like that, we shouldn't be as hard at some of these guys who are probably be not giving Hall of Fame opportunities because they were involved in stuff like that? Like a Barry Bonds, like a Roger Clemens, and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I know people's got their own opinions about things, and I have mine. I still think one of the best players I've ever seen played and played against was Barry Bonds. Um, on the field, I mean, off the field, I mean, did I like the the person? No, I did not. I didn't like the way I could care less 2 cents about it. The way when I played against him, I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the best players I'd ever seen. Play. He had the five tools and he did well. I've never seen nobody. You know, people talk about how big he got and all that kind of stuff, and I said, but people don't know. I mean, he hit home runs and stuff the opposite way when he was, say, to speak, skinny. I mean,
Yeah,
he had that caliber. He had the things
I
before that.
hated him when he played at Pittsburgh. Watching him play against us, it was murder.
I mean, and I played against him. I played against them both. And see what was so impressive about him, you know, is when say to speak when he got bigger, people say, no, he's doing it, whatever he's doing. It doesn't matter. You're still hitting a round ball with a round bat, and there was still nobody end up being better than him. And he basically rarely got pitched to, and if he did, he got one pitch a ball game maybe to hit, and he didn't miss it. That's nothing. That has nothing.
Steroids have nothing to do with
What
hand
was
eye
so impressive?
coordination.
He stopped swinging. He didn't go. He didn't chase. He would chase a little bit when he was younger. He stopped chasing and knew the strike zone, and he didn't go outside of it. Really, he took the walk. He took the whatever. But when he got a pitch, he did damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking just hitting home runs. I'm talking he barreled it. He hit it on the label. On the meat part of the bat. He didn't hit it off the label, the bat, the end of the bat. He had so much his bat control because he was, he was willing to choke up and feel the head of that bat, and he dare you to come in there, and he got on the dish, and he basically did damage. I mean, as much as I disliked some of the things about how he went about his business, and he's one of the guys that probably got to dancing around in the box after he hits a home run and got going, got that stuff going back in the day, much as we hate that stuff, there was nobody better at it than him at centering the baseball on the bat. To me, the guy, I mean, with the way things has happened these days and the criteria they're letting guys in the Hall of Fame that, they ain't got the numbers, and then now you got the guys that should be. It ain't in. You got the numbers. Yeah. So I still think he's still one of the hardest thing to do is hitting a round ball with a round bat. And I don't care what you do. You have to work at it to do it. And it is what it is. Because he was doing it before he got bigger and after he got bigger. It didn't matter. The only thing he changed was stop chasing. So
he was a special guy. Like I said,
yes, he was.
I hated when Pittsburgh used to come into town, or when the Phillies used to get matched up against him, because playing against him and Bonilla and Vance Lyke and them guys during that time, it was like, all right, well, let's see how our guys pitch against them today. And
I remember back in the day we fared against them pretty good. I mean, believe it or not, even though we were struggling as a unit. There's some. I mean, matched up with them pretty. I remember pitching, giving them a right good bit, and I mean, we matched up pretty good against those guys.
Yeah.
It's I
it
mean,
was the rivalry
you
that
enjoyed playing that team because they had such a good ball club.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a welcome challenge. I know it was as a pitcher to face that lineup. And you pitch a good ball game and keep those guys down and give yourself and you win a ball game. That's a pretty good feat. So
yeah. Two more before we get ready to wrap this one up. One of the things is obviously off season, a lot of things happen. We signed Schwarber. There's still debate on whether JT Realmuto gets signed. Now the recent rumors over the last few weeks is the potential of Bo Bichette coming to Philadelphia, as we just lost Ranger Suarez to Boston, that they may be falling out of it. Do you like that the potential of adding a guy like Bichette into the lineup? You get a good right-handed bat in there to possibly protect somebody like a Bryce Harper?
Well, I mean, you're always welcome. I mean, the type of ball player like that can offer some protection or offer that caliber that can make a difference. He's not. I mean, he plays good baseball. Bo does, and if it's feasible for them to do something like that, and they can get it where they can make it work. Because it's not an open-ended checkbook all the time. It's you got to make some decisions. About things, and I mean, do they pull a trigger on something like that? It'd be great to have a guy like that, but is it feasible? We're gonna wait and see on that, because JT's gonna make. I think that's the bigger need than anything.
I thought it was the biggest need of the offseason. Everyone underestimates that pitcher-catcher relationship, and he handles that rotation so beautifully, man.
It's a huge thing. But I mean, I think there's got to be the meeting of the minds, a little bit. Is where does JT want to play? This is probably at the tail end of his career. I mean, he's a great in shape catcher that still can move in a little bit. But we've been, and what people, are we upset we haven't been further in the playoffs the last couple of years or whatever? Yeah, but we're in the playoffs. We're winning ball club. But now it's about that hump. And the way the playoff system is set up these days, you can be beaten on any given series. You face a couple hot pitchers in a series, they can put you to sleep. And that's exactly what happened with the Dodgers last year. You face good pitching, they get hot, and you're facing the 1-2s, it seems like every night. You're in for a long night, and it makes a difference. You can't afford to give – to make any mistakes, and you end up coming up short. And that's what happens in this type of system, I think, because there's other teams that get in the playoffs and they can knock you off because pitching rules, and if pitching gets hot, you can be in trouble.
Yeah, you can be. Got another question from the chat here. They wanted to know, Tommy, how much of a dump was Veteran Stadium's underbelly? I mean, obviously, the thing is known about a lot of things are known about Veteran Stadium. So let's put Tommy's take on this one.
Well, I tell you what, let's put it this way: you never knew what you were going to see underneath that stadium. There was all kind of things crawling around that friggin' joint. It was back in the day. So. You sort of sometimes you wanted to make sure you were walking out of the clubhouse and up in a ramp and stuff with a one of your teammates and not by yourself. You didn't want to get caught by anything.
So what? The rats were that
never
big?
Knew.
Were the rats that big, or was other things to worry about?
If it was a rat or not. If it was a rat, it was the biggest daggone thing I'd ever seen.
Well. One last one before we get ready to wrap this one up. Obviously, I'm sure this is the one you get all the time. You're one of the few pitchers that was able to pitch a no-hitter for this team. How special of a night it was for you for that one? Obviously, you've talked about not being able to be healthy throughout your career. You weren't able to kind of have as long as careers you have. How much has to go right in situations like that? We were already talking about you need the bats, you need the defense, and you also need to control your pitchers. What was the perfect storm that was made that happen for you that night?
I mean, first of all, I don't remember really there wasn't a diving play or anything. There was, they tried to bunt a couple times, but we were playing in for it, so it didn't make a difference. Once it started getting deeper in the game, like the fifth, sixth inning, when you have to get up here, they start trying to do things, especially top of that lineup with DeShields and Grissom and stuff. They with speed, they're trying to get on it anyway and break that up. You know what I mean? Other than me walking a ton of guys, there really wasn't a tough play made, having to be made. It was, more routine fly balls. One Ron Hassey probably hit the hardest ball. It was and I got in on him a little bit, and it was like a one hopper to Wally Backman at second, just right at him though. But besides that, I don't really remember any tough plays, and the things that had to go right went right. As far as that being that on that side of it, and and obviously we got a run in the first, and and it was a 1-0 game to the ninth until we scored another one, and and then I was able to go 1, 2, 3 in the ninth, and people probably have heard the stories now, but. When I was with the Braves, I'd been in that situation, A-ball, AA, AAA. I had, 3 no-hitters in the ninth inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes and lost all 3 of them, the base hits, And so I'd been to the end in pro baseball, but not in the big leagues like that. So I made sure I thought when I was walking up the back of the mound to face Wallach, I thought of Leo Mazzoni, my pitching coach with the Braves back in the day, because after the AAA one I did, he was like, when you gonna finish one of these bleeping things off, So how Leo was, a little Tasmanian devil looking like Yosemite Sam, I used to call him sometimes. But he and I thought about Leo. I thought about it. I said, this one's for you, you little bleeping guy. And I said, and I thought that thought. I said, I'm not going 2 strikes on this guy unless he fouls off 2 pitches. And I said, let's go right at it. And, he hit a ground ball right back to me. So it ended the way it should have ended, I think. I wasn't trying to nitpick or trying not to get hit. I said, hey, we're going it's going to happen or it's not, type thing. So it ended perfect in that case. That people also always tell this, they ask me, obviously that's your best game, that you take pride in. I said, yeah, I take pride into it. I said, I really take pride into. 5 days later, I faced the same ball club and played them in the vet. Faced the same lineup, and I threw a 3-hit shutout and didn't walk anybody. And they got 4 more looks at me and didn't do anything. Really. So that game meant a lot in a validation game. When you face a pretty good lineup, you look who was on that team, pretty good talented lineup, young guys and veteran guys, and you hold those guys to 3 hits in 18 innings. I'll take that.
It's people underestimate. I still think baseball is one of the toughest professional sports to play because it is not an easy thing to hit a baseball. That's why a lot of guys wind up going and playing football, going to play these other sports because there's no guarantees that you're going to be a star in the show. So it's
that's the thing about sports in general, though. Ain't no guarantees about nothing. You still got to go out there and play it. You can have the best team on paper. Don't matter, man. You got to go out there and play the game. And things can happen during the course of a game. You could have the highest payroll and, say to speak, the best athletes on the field, but if a guy on the opposite side could be a young guy with good stuff locks in, you can be in trouble. He can take those guys down. Chop them down.
One last one, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Are you a fan of the ABS system that they're trying to implement with the umpiring, trying to get a more specific thing on the strike zone where you're having less human error, or are you an old school guy? You like having ump behind there?
I like having umps back there. I know everybody wants to be perfect and have everything right. They're trying to speed up the game and make it quicker. To me, with replays and after every close play, they're stay waiting in the dugout, and then they've changed the game so much for me. It's I mean, I like the old school way. I mean, I like the human aspect of the game. I like the. I thought the umpires did a pretty good job over all the years at doing their job. Yeah, did they miss calls? Yeah. Uh, is life perfect? Is everything supposed to be perfect? No. Um, I think that's what's so great about the game of baseball is the human aspect of it. It gives the reporters, gives the fans something to talk about. You know, um, I mean, it's they've shortened the bases by making them bigger, trying to make guys run more. They've tried to speed up the game by putting a clock in it. You know, I was always under the impression if you had to leave, you leave and listen to it on the radio. I'd, listen to L.A. and Fransky on the radio. That's what I did. That's what I do. If I had to go somewhere, I left. I go. Why do you have to speed up the game for the sake of trying to speed somebody up? One of the best things, the way I was taught to, when things start getting out of the control out there on the field, when things start as a pitcher, you got to slow it down just a touch. You got to, wait a minute. Right now, you can't wait a minute.
You can't even wait 15 seconds.
I know you can't. Things start getting out of control. Sometimes you got to find a way to take it back into control. You got to calm it down a little bit in your mind, to keep it from racing, so you don't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Too many or another mistake that could cost. That could be a young guy's one pitch away from being sent down to the minor leagues and possibly never coming back up. But if he calms it down, he's that one pitch of getting out of that inning, staying there. Yeah. You don't know. So I'm a big advocate of, just the way the game, it was supposed to be played for over how many years it's been played, 200 years or how long it's been played. I don't know, 150 years. But it's, but that's the evolution of everything. Life is about change, and it's about adjustments. So we're having to make adjustments. Even us old school guys, so to speak, we're having to come to grips with times changing and stuff like that. Do we have to like it? No, we don't. But that's just the way it is. You just got to come to grips with it, and and try to make the best out of it. Now, will I like watching games that's got like that? No, I probably won't. I don't like having the box up on the screen watching what the strike. But I like watching catchers, move and the way they receive stuff. Usually they don't sit off the plate too much at all. So if they're moving and catching a ball, it's a ball. So, they're just making it look like it's a strike. For the most part,
they framing it up for them.
Yeah, for the most part. If they move it to them, back in the day, you could, if you were trying to frame too much, the umpire would yell at the catcher, "Don't show me up! Don't try to do that." You wouldn't. They didn't like that, But now, I mean, you got guys doing now. They don't even squat down like a normal catcher anymore. They got one leg, they're on one knee. It's gotten to such a science. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Which is fine. You're always trying to look to get the best out of your body and the best out of your ability, and I have to say that about today's game. With the science they got in it, they're doing that. They're getting the best out of the guys, which I think you use the tools of technology to help, but it's not the end all be all. The analytics side of it, the numbers, it's not. It all comes down to what you got down in the pit of your stomach too. That makes the intangibles of the guy. Does a guy tend to get people out, or don't you? Or is he just throw hard with spin rate and not throw strikes and tend to miss out over the plate and can't get nobody out? Yeah, I'd rather have a guy that's got a knack for getting somebody out. So that's just me.
Well, Tommy, it was an absolute blast having you on here. What I typically do here at the end is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you would like to thank, anyone you tell people where to follow you on the social media sites, any appearances that you might be doing in the future. Yeah. If you have like a nonprofit organization that you want to shoot out to, the time is yours, my friend.
Well, I mean, they can find me out there on the social media type thing. We got more involved with a friend. He's a buddy now. My wife really got me involved with Justin Brown, who's got me out more on Facebook, more on the social media sites. You can look me up on, and you'll find me because I'm out there. I'm always out in the community trying to do something to make a difference in our community and really the youth of the Philadelphia region and area is and out in the community. And that's what I think I have to hand it back out to the Phillies all over the years that got me involved and being out in the community more from the start with them when I played and to help make a difference in a young person's life. You know, the cancer is stuff that's real passionate for me and my family. We've had some people that we really care about that made a difference in life, and one in particular was Darren Dalton. He's the reason why I'm with my wife today. Losing him to glioblastoma and brain cancer is a huge thing. That we try to make a difference and stand for Darren's foundation at DarrenDaltonFoundation.org, so people can find ways to support them at some point, and we would greatly appreciate that. But we're also involved in a number of different things, charities, and I do a lot of charity golf outings and stuff like that to support the cause for a number of different, not just cancer, but a number of different things involving pediatric and stuff, problems that kids have in hospitals and stuff like that. So to help raise money for different things. So that is a huge thing. It's one of my passions because is to help the young kids and the young families that go through this type of stuff. And, and I love to play golf and stuff like that. So, I mean, it kind of works hand in hand when we're able to do stuff like that. But the social media side of the thing, we try to bring awareness to different things. And I have to credit Justin Brown, who I deal with now, who helps me out. Me and the family. My wife has got me involved with Justin. She's the backbone of who we are here at the house. So I have to give her all the props in the world for that. So I mean, just look for me out there. You'll see it. I'll be out and about. So
clip it. Yeah. I'm also I'm glad you mentioned Justin because he doesn't get enough credit for what he does.
No, he does.
Putting fans and athletes together in the tri-state area, but also Darren Dalton. I remember my kids were real young. Went to one of these signings right before I was about to go do a family event, and my daughter was having one of these daddy moments. So I'm going to go get an autograph from Darren. I had a ball and a card I was getting signed, and she was trying to get in on it, and so he literally grabs her, make sure she gets up in the picture and stuff like that. It's like one of those things that I'll never forget. And he's always been one of my favorite Phillies of all time. So
there's not a better person. I miss his smile, I miss the kiss on the cheek you always got when you come into a room with him. He was always had that smile. I mean, he's sorely and very much missed in our family. It was a sad day. It was a sad day for us.
He was a rare one. As we're wrapping up the real and the rare, couldn't end it on a better note talking about Darren Dalton with Tommy Greene here. Tommy, appreciate the time, my friend. Hopefully we do it again sometime during the season. Talk a little bit more baseball. Hopefully we can get you on here a few more times. Other than that, Tommy, it was an absolute pleasure having you on here tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll catch up, my friend.
All right, Steve, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Likewise. All right, everyone, that was Tommy Greene, the one and only, and another fun episode here on the South Florida Tribune, the real and the rare episode. It's a great thing when you're able to kind of catch up with some of these legends, hear what's going on with them, things that they're involved with in the community, their thoughts on the game of baseball today. Other than that should put an end to this episode. Another great one in the book again, guys. If you're not already locked in, please make sure you head over to the YouTube channel. We got the QR code up there in the top. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming program. Scott and the crew are going to be on at the top of the hour with some more great content. Again, we're going to keep pumping out the interviews. We got 2 more Big Combat Sports interviews coming out this week. So other than that, I'm Steve. This was another episode of The Real and the Rare, and we will catch you guys Saturday. Peace out.